All right, here's Annovis Bio, and this is not a Roni Rona stock. These guys are working on Alzheimer, Parkinson's and Alzheimer. But this is another stock that got a big news blast today to take a look at, and they're moving into phase 2 clinical study here. So two-part study, 68 patients, 4 weeks, and their lead compound is ANVS401. And so they're trying to measure a toxic cascade for nerve cell death. And we believe we're the only company developing a drug for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's that inhibits more than one neurotoxic protein. And so they just got IRB, that's the ethics committee, approval to move forward with phase 2, and the original initiation of the trial was delayed due to COVID-19. So I don't think I'll put this one on the coronavirus playlist, but it's related to the coronavirus stocks insofar as all the hype and all the focus on COVID has slowed down their approval schedule. But as far as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's go, this should, significantly impact the quality of life. And so this is an interesting non-Roni Rona stock to take a look at. And let's jump over to the charts. Oh yeah, and mmtgear.com. I just got some shirts up. If you guys are interested in some shirts to support the channel, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. So this is ANVS stock, Annovis Bio. And so Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and they're moving forward to phase 2. And so you can see the news blast. Stock has been, there's a little bit of a bullish support line here, kind of to support this news blast. They had a pretty typical kind of news reversal recently here. Okay, so this is a decent one to take a look at. Now, this isn't going to be crazy hypey like some of the COVID stock charts, but generally these news blasts are going to kind of pop. They usually pop and they usually land a little bit higher than where they came from. And this one has a little bit of support coming in, so that's good. And it hasn't broken out into like a high angled, kind of bullish, bubbly looking thing like that. But yeah, this is good. This is good to have a support trend line here. So if this thing reverses back down kind of into this area here, this could be a good spot to hang on to it and see if it gets support here, and possibly see if it can turn into its own kind of bubbly thing where it goes off onto a higher angled trend line. Like that's these kind of speculative, medical trial stocks. Quite often that's what they do, is they'll kind of blast on these news releases. They'll settle back down a little bit higher, and then you can see if they find support and see if it'll kind of kick out into a higher angled trend line. So right now, this is enough support to expect it to kind of hold up when it reverses down. And so usually it'll do this kind of reversal shape here on the news blast. Sometimes it'll flag and pop higher and kind of settle down a little bit higher than that. And that's what we've been seeing on a lot of these medical kind of stocks as far as how they react to these news blasts. And it's already coming down. PreMarket, and we should have actual market trading now. So I just kind of ran up and it just opened down. So that's a general idea of what I would expect the trading to do today. But this stock does have enough of a support line here running into this news blast to look okay for more of a speculative trade. So this is a speculative shorter term trade. This is a 4-week trial they're doing now, so there should be some news probably before the 4 weeks is up, and then some more news afterwards. So this is the kind of thing, if you can find a good price, this is not investment advice, but if you can find a good price in here and then look for, kind of look for support here. And then if you start getting support, then see what the next kind of news blasts look like. This one's pretty interesting. And so we actually have open market trading here. So I'm going to jump over to the market and see what we're getting on the cash trading here. And so the cash opening is a little bit up. And so yeah, this whole group of stuff here was over the weekend. So we roughly gapped up above this kind of zone where we've been wobbling around. And so this is a bullish thing to be up here above support, and looks like we're finding support here outside of the zone. So that looks like a bullish setup to me. And we have this previous peak back here, and we're running right into it. So there's a ton of overhead resistance and then a really strong support line to get through on the bullish side. So this is a bullish trade setup, but it's not open skies ahead. This is a lot of stuff to get through here and get through here before this chart actually turns bullish. But if it does break out above here and find support up here, like at that point, pretty much everything would be bullish. Like the long-term moving averages, you'll be above those on the bullish side. You'll be above all the support lines at that point. The momentum would be bullish on the intermediate and probably the long term at that point. Let's take a look at the momentum and see where it is now. So the super long-term momentum has been pulling up, and it's getting pretty close to the zero line, and it's moving up near the zero line. So this is not quite yet into bullish territory, but it's making a move into bullish territory on the very long-term look on the weekly candles. I mean, that's a year or two outlook. So this is about to go into bullish territory long-term. And then on the daily candles, we're in bull territory, and we've been up in bull territory for a while here, for a couple of months, or yeah, a couple months. And so it's just kind of stalling out a little bit here, but it's in bull territory. And so as far as a bearish move, like as far as a bear market is concerned, the bears need to get this down to this side of the chart. And it doesn't look like any kind of bearish move is happening at the moment. And then a big bearish move here would probably pull the longer term trend and keep it below. So this is a really critical area on momentum and on the long-term trend lines here. So we're still underneath this 2-year trend line. So that's a really important point to try to break through for the bulls. And then just kind of zooming down on it today. It's bullish territory, but a bearish move. And that tiny little move down that we're getting coming into opening actually looks way more bearish on the momentum than I was expecting. So it doesn't actually look like it wants to go. It doesn't look like it wants to go anywhere right now. As far as the momentum, right now, sort of the half a day to 3-day range of momentum, they're all making bearish moves, and pretty much neutral kind of area here. So that actually is not what I thought the momentum was going to look like here. That looks less bullish on the action right now. That's suggesting it's just going to kind of stall out here. But if it does, like if you get bearish momentum and it doesn't actually move down on the chart, that will usually result in a move up. So, I mean, basically, yeah, the bears, as far as the bears go, like bears need to make a move down, visible move down now, like right now. The longer this kind of stalls out, the more bullish it gets. And then if it starts moving up, through these resistance areas, that's obviously bullish. But the actual momentum right now does not look particularly bullish, which is interesting. let's see. Yeah, IWM is weak. This is really weird to me. The Right, so the Qs, like the tech sector is still doing buybacks, and now they're actually getting Fed bond support, which I don't think the Fed's actually buying their bonds yet, but um, they've added Apple and Microsoft to the bond buying list, which is nonsense. It doesn't make any sense, but it's a way for the Fed to get money into this leading sector. And so the leading sector is still driving up. And now we have small caps driving down against that. So this is a really interesting divergence between, between those leading few stocks and the rest of the market are diverging more. Yeah, very clearly diverging more this week. It's not rotating into these stocks. And that's one thing that I really wanted to look at this week. Is like the liquidity is not coming from the Fed. The Treasury is still taking liquidity out of the market. Foreign buyers are maybe selling some treasuries, but they're not selling equities. So that could be a little bit of foreign liquidity coming in. But right now, the liquidity is extremely low relative to the last couple of months where the liquidity was absolutely nuts. And now we're not seeing a rotation into other sectors. Like we're just seeing the lead sector, like the Qs going up. So yeah, the momentum is it's not rotating. So this doesn't actually look as bullish as I was thinking from the original chart here. And I don't know. Oh, Tesla's kind of fun, right? Tesla went crazy again. It's like gap, 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 like 3 days in a row. Where is it? Oh my God. Tesla broke 14. Tesla's just absolutely going crazy. Yeah, so I had this whole setup drawn here. So yeah, Tesla kind of squeezed into this triangle between a bull support and this kind of downtrend. And so I was looking at like a put and call setups here for it to break out of here. And it definitely broke to the upside out of there. And this is crazy. Like this parabolic move makes this thing look tiny. Like this was the biggest parabolic crazy thing at the time when this happened. People were just like, "Oh, this is crazy," and now people are just like, "Oh, whatever." Like everything's crazy. Like people aren't even surprised by some move like this. I mean, look at this thing. It went from below 1,000 to above 14 in a week. That's that's absolutely insane. So, oh man, yeah. Good luck trading Tesla. I mean, the sort of the short side of this trade is expensive if you want to do options because the option premiums are super high, and it's absolutely crazy. So yeah, this is kind of a fun gambling experiment if anyone wants to make plays on this. I mean, maybe selling probably. Oof, it's so dangerous. Like selling calls or something if you wanted to short this. You could get probably really big premiums on that. A very, very risky strategy. And this is not investment advice, but man, this stock's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. And this is the equal weight where it's traded out of like the top sectors. This is like a less dramatic view of the general market, I guess, where they kind of rotate out of rotate out of the stocks that are gaining a ton and rotate into the lower stocks. And this generally gets like a more balanced view of where the market is going. And so it's not much going on. That looks pretty similar to like the small caps or something. So what is transportation doing? Yeah. So The whole market just looks kind of blah, except for the tech sector, which has just been crazy for the last several months. I mean, this is it's incredible. That's an incredible chart. It looks crazy. And so I mean, people have been calling tops the whole time, and it's just highs, 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 highs. And so at some point, I would imagine that this sector is gonna reconverge with the rest of the market. But right now, it's separating farther, and so I don't know how long that can go on. I mean, just look at the difference. Like, look where the small caps are here, and the well, not into the future, but the industrials are, or sorry, the infotech sector, the Qs like Nasdaq sector, is way up there. Like, these are the smaller companies that are seriously facing solvency issues, bankruptcy issues. The staffing issues are massive. Like, all the problems we're seeing in the economy are really weighing on these companies. And then the tech sector is just like off on a cloud. And this separation is it's probably the biggest separation, probably even bigger than the dot-com bubble. I think this is probably the biggest separation between the, the leading few stocks and the rest of the market that has ever happened. And right, well, normally that would indicate a good spot to be looking for a reversal down on those stocks, but I mean, right now we just have absolute insanity. Well, I mean, the dot-com bubble when that was going on was just nutty as well. Um, but I don't think, but it's not the same kind of thing where like that was a tech boom where everyone is like everything's amazing and stocks are just going up forever. Like the tech stocks are, taking over the world. Like that's not at all the situation now. Like everyone's like the economy's screwed, everyone's on lockdown. Like, is this a depression, or are we trying to have like a mediocre recovery? Like that's the discussion that's going on now. It's not like, oh, like we have this amazing breakthrough that's gonna change the world or something like that. It's just like everything's screwed, but the market keeps going up. It's a really weird it's a really weird situation. But just comparing it to the past kind of times when you've had a few stocks leading the market really pull away from everything else, that generally has not resulted well for the market. So, I mean, I guess just overall, after looking at all the things, it's just slightly bullish today. It doesn't look that strongly bullish, but these kind of leading tech stocks look pretty bullish, and the rest of the market just looks kind of blah. But as far as the S&P, eh, like slightly bullish, and just high risk. Everything's super, super high risk and kind of crazy. I mean, as far as like a long-term investment things go, there's no investment value going on here. Like the value fundamentals are terrible right now. And this is a bunch of speculative, like, kind of day trading setups that are maybe fun, but as far as actual investing, like it's just a ton of risk, and we don't know if the dollar is gonna break up and put a tremendous pressure on other countries, or if the dollar is going to break down and make other monetary assets look way better, like gold or silver or something like that. Like we're just in a really kind of tricky area on all of the liquidity and the fundamental things like that. And even the trading charts are just chopping around in a really complicated area. This is tricky. It's a really tricky spot this week. I don't think there's a lot of good setups, and like parabolic moves like this, I was looking at Tesla, like those kind of parabolic moves generally will reverse back down, but it's just so everything's just absolutely crazy right now. So yeah, so good luck. Like it's just gambling. It's just gambling right now. Um, what else is going on? What's up with like the put calls? Oh no, people are going long. So right around that big reversal point, we had historically um, we had a historically huge amount of calls made, and the put call ratio was super low, and so it just keeps swinging back and forth. Like the bullish bearish sentiment everyone keeps talking about is just it just keeps chopping back and forth like every day. So there's not a lot to go off on that. Um, yeah, I guess. Hmm. Yeah, I think we're gonna stick in this rough zone here. It looks like we're gonna try to make a little bullish move, and it probably is gonna stall out, and then I don't know. There's not a lot of trade setups that look particularly interesting right now. I guess there's just so much nonsense above this bullish kind of move that we're getting. That's really hard to get excited about it, but um, if it stalls out and turns down, maybe later this week, if it can get back into this zone and kind of get stuck in here, like that's an area where there's not much keeping a bigger move to the downside. Like that would be a more interesting trading area. This, this is just so it's just so much stuff to try to break through that it's not particularly exciting kind of area to try to trade through on the upside until we get up high. So yeah, that's just kind of the market look. It's less bullish than I was thinking when I started doing the video after flipping through everything. We're not getting rotation. We're not getting momentum really hardly at all. I was surprised. So yeah, yeah, it's just eh. This is not trading advice. I hope you enjoyed it, and oh, please subscribe, drop some comments, and happy trading.